They taught you to chase money, and they forgot to tell you the price of that chase. Work more, earn more, buy more, accumulate more. And when you finally achieve all of that, you will be free. This is one of the most expensive lies a person can believe, because millions of people spend their entire lives trying to make money without realizing that somewhere along the way, money began to control their lives. It controls the jobs they accept, the debts they take on, the things they buy to impress people they do not even know, the fear they feel of losing what they have, and even the value they believe they have. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Stoics had already recognized this trap. Seneca lived surrounded by extraordinary wealth. Marcus Aurelius had the resources of an empire at his disposal. Epictetus knew the exact opposite. He was born enslaved and lived without great possessions. Three completely different experiences with money led to an uncomfortable conclusion. It is not the amount of money you have that determines whether you are free. It is who serves whom, because you can possess a great deal of money and still belong to it. In this video, you are going to discover 8 Stoic laws about money that reveal where true wealth begins, and why some people spend their entire lives trying to become rich without ever becoming truly free. And one of these laws explains why earning more can make you feel even poorer. Law 1. If money defines your worth, it is already your master. There is a kind of poverty that does not show up on a bank statement. It shows up when your mood depends on your balance, when a difficult financial season makes you feel inferior, when someone else's success bothers you because it seems to diminish your own, or when you need to show what you own to prove that you have succeeded. At that point, the problem is no longer merely financial. Money has begun to define your identity. Epictetus taught that wealth was not simply about the amount of possessions you had, but also about the ability to limit your own desires. That is deeply uncomfortable for our time, because we are taught exactly the opposite. The more you desire, the more you consume. The more you consume, the more you need to earn. The more you need to earn, the greater your fear of losing becomes. And so a person can increase their income and decrease their freedom. Jesus gave an even deeper warning. In Luke 12, a man asks Jesus to intervene in an inheritance dispute, and Jesus responds with a warning. A man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. Notice this, Jesus did not say that owning possessions is a sin. He attacked a far more dangerous lie, the idea that what you possess determines who you are. Your net worth can change, your income can fall, a business can fail, a job can end. But if your entire identity rests on those things, any financial loss also becomes an identity crisis. The first law, then, is simple. Possess money, but never ask money to tell you how much you are worth. Because the day it answers that question, it already occupies a place it was never meant to occupy. Law 2. Those who need to look rich often pay dearly for appearances. There is an extremely effective way to remain financially trapped. Spend money you have not yet built up to maintain an image you do not need to maintain. The car has to impress. The clothes have to impress. The trip has to be seen. The restaurant has to be photographed. The house has to convey success. And little by little, something strange happens. You no longer buy because you need something. You buy because you need to be seen. Marcus Aurelius had access to privileges unimaginable to most people of his time. Even so, his reflections constantly return to simplicity, self-control, and the uselessness of external approval. Because anyone who needs the admiration of others gives those people the power to determine how they should live. The Bible touches on exactly this point when it repeatedly warns against doing things to be seen of men. Although the context of Matthew 6 is spiritual, giving, prayer, and fasting, the principle reveals something about the human heart. The need to be seen can corrupt even what appears to be good, and the same thing happens with money. It is one thing to buy something because you like it, need it, and can afford it. It is something completely different to buy it because you need someone to notice that you have made it. One serves you, the other serves your image. Before your next major purchase, ask yourself an uncomfortable question. If no one could see this, would I still want to buy it? The answer may save you much more than money. Deduor. 3. What you waste every day is worth more than money. Seneca wrote extensively about a kind of wealth that we treat with astonishing irresponsibility: time. We are careful when someone asks us for money, but we give away hours to distractions without even noticing. 1 hour today, 2 tomorrow, 3 more over the weekend. And then we say, I don't have time to learn. I don't have time to start. I don't have time to build another source of income. Seneca observed that people protected their property, yet allowed others to waste their time. And here, Stoicism and the Bible meet at an extremely powerful point. Ephesians 5 teaches, redeeming the time because the days are evil. There is something no investment can ever give back. Yesterday, you can lose $500 and earn it back. You can close a company and build another one. You can lose a job and find another. But the hour that is gone is gone. So before asking only, how can I make more money? Ask, where am I spending the only wealth I will never be able to recover? Because there are people trying to save 50 Rs while wasting hundreds of hours. And that brings us to the next law. Because if time is your rarest resource, there is one place where investing it can produce returns for decades. Law 4. Before investing more money, increase the value of the person managing it. You can lose money. You can lose a piece of equipment. You can lose a client. You may even have to start over professionally. But what you have truly learned stays with you. That is why investing in knowledge, skills, character, and discipline can produce something that no purchase made for appearances can offer: capability. Epictetus is a powerful example precisely because his journey began without a privileged social position. What made his ideas valuable was not property. It was what he developed within himself. Today, this remains extremely practical. Learn a profession, develop communication skills, learn sales, study finance, improve a skill, read, practice, make mistakes and correct them. All of this increases something that does not immediately appear in your bank account: your ability to create value. Proverbs repeatedly says that wisdom is worth more than gold and silver. That does not mean knowledge will automatically make someone rich. The Bible never promises that. It means that money without wisdom can disappear quickly, while wisdom can guide what you do when the money arrives. So before asking only, what should I invest in? Include another question: who do I need to become? If you enjoy this meeting point between Stoic principles, real-life problems, and biblical wisdom, subscribe to the channel. Because here, philosophy is not intellectual decoration. It is a tool for living better. Law 5. Every new desire can create a new form of poverty. Here we come to the law that explains why some people begin earning more and continue to feel poorer and poorer. Income increases, but their standard of living increases along with it. The salary gets better, the car changes, the house changes, the restaurants change, expectations change, and what seemed like a luxury yesterday feels like a necessity today. Epictetus understood something fundamental. If happiness depends on satisfying unlimited desires, you have entered a race with no finish line. Because there will always be something above you: a bigger house, a better car, a more expensive trip, someone earning more, someone apparently living better. And here the Bible presents a surprisingly similar answer, but with a different foundation. Paul writes in Philippians 4, "I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content." Pay attention to the word, learned. Contentment did not come automatically. It was learned. Paul knew both abundance and need, and he declared that his stability depended on neither. This is not a lack of ambition. It does not mean you should stop growing. It does not mean there is anything beautiful about remaining in hardship. It means being able to say, I want to grow without having to hate my life while I haven't gotten there yet. That is an extremely rare kind of freedom, because anyone who never learns to have enough will never discover how much is enough. Law 6. The fear of losing can turn what you own into a prison. Imagine working for years to achieve something, and then spending the rest of your life terrified that you might lose it. Is that freedom? Seneca practiced voluntary periods of simplicity. The idea was to remind himself that he could endure a life with less comfort. Why? Because whatever you believe you cannot live without begins to exercise power over you. Jesus goes even deeper in Matthew 6. He speaks about people consumed with worry over what they would eat, drink, and wear, and then he teaches, "Take therefore no thought for the morrow." This is not an invitation to irresponsibility. The Bible itself values prudence, work, and planning. The problem is turning planning into permanent anxiety. Save, plan, build, invest responsibly. But understand this: absolute security is not for sale. No bank balance can eliminate every possibility of loss. That is why the Stoic works to master fear. And the Christian finds an even deeper reason not to be ruled by it. Your ultimate trust is not in what you have accumulated. Law 7. Fast money is one of the oldest ways to sell a good future for an easy present. Every generation has its own version of getting rich quick. The promise changes, the packaging changes, the pitch changes, but the temptation remains. You don't have to wait. And that is exactly where many people lose what took them years to build. Because haste weakens judgment. You stop asking, does this make sense? And start asking, how much can I make? The Stoics valued consistency, discipline, and control over their own reactions. And Proverbs presents an extremely direct principle: wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Solid wealth is usually less exciting. It grows slowly. It requires repetition. It requires learning. It requires saying no. It requires continuing when no one is applauding. And that is precisely why so few people stay with it long enough. In a world obsessed with shortcuts, patience has become an advantage. Do not confuse slowness with failure. Roots grow even when no one is watching. Law 8. If you don't know what you want money for, you will never know when you have enough. We have reached the point that changes all the previous ones. Suppose tomorrow you receive exactly the amount of money you desire. Then what? What for? More comfort, freedom, time with your family, to build something, to help someone, to serve, or simply to accumulate more? Because money without purpose has a dangerous characteristic. It can never say enough. There is always another number, another level, another achievement. Marcus Aurelius constantly returned to the idea of living according to what he considered his function and contributing to the whole. But the Bible takes this question even further. In Luke 12, Jesus tells the story of a man whose land produced abundantly. He is not condemned simply because he prospered. The problem appears in what he decided to do with that prosperity. He built bigger barns, he accumulated, and he told his own soul that he now had enough goods laid up for many years, but that very night his life ended. Then Jesus asks the devastating question, then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? The question is not simply, how much did you achieve? It is what you have achieved doing through you? Money can buy comfort. It can create opportunities. It can protect your family. It can fund projects. It can enable generosity. It can give you time. It can produce good things, but it remains a tool, never a purpose. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson that Stoicism and faith can place before us. You do not have to choose between prospering and living by principles. You need to decide who governs whom. Work, grow, learn, build, manage well. There is no virtue in financial irresponsibility, but never allow money to occupy the center of your identity, your peace, or your hope. Because you can spend an entire lifetime acquiring things and realize too late that while you thought you were building wealth, you were building a prison. So I want to leave you with a question. Do not answer based on what would sound good. Answer honestly. Today, do you control your money, or do you feel that money controls your decisions? Write in the comments, I control it or it controls me. And if any of these 8 laws made you see money differently, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because wealth does not begin when you finally manage to have everything. It begins when what you have stops being what governs you.